I found it is the small things, everyday deeds of ordinary folk that keeps the darkness at bay. Simple acts of kindness and love.
Lord of the Rings is full of heroes and great leaders, but most of us will never be commanding armies or leading nations, which is exactly what makes Samwise Gamgee so incredibly special. One of the reasons that the hobbits in general are so popular is because they represent all of us. They're goofy and often incompetent and relatable. In a world of gods and immortals, they're just simple people trying to make a good life, who also learn and grow along the way. And while we all have moments where we may relate most to Pippin from Fellowship of the Ring,
Fool of a took! Throw yourself in next time and rid us of your stupidity.
Sam shows 3 incredibly valuable aspects of leadership that we don't talk about enough. The first lesson comes from the fact that Sam is not a leader. In fact, he's essentially Frodo's servant.
Your bodyguard? His gardener.
Frodo, Merry, and Pippin are all the equivalent of hobbit nobility, or at the very least, upper class. But Sam is just a working class average Joe, and Frodo is his employer. Out of the entire fellowship, Sam is the only one that isn't some kind of highborn fancy pants. Almost every leadership book or guru out there is going to say something to the effect of, leadership isn't a title. But no matter how many times it gets said, it's hard to truly believe. Some of you have even expressed in the comments of other videos that you will never be in leadership positions. But leadership isn't a position. Sam was the lowest of the low in the fellowship, but he is one of the most beloved and impactful characters despite that. He is as much a hero, if not more so, as the kings and demigods.
Samwise the Brave. I want to hear more about Sam.
And that's the spot that so many of us are in. We don't seem special. We aren't necessarily managers or CEOs, celebrities or senators. We're just people doing normal people jobs. In my Lead Like Aragorn video, I talked about the value of leading from the front. But Sam manages to do a much more impressive feat, which is leading from below.
Go back, Sam! I'm going to Mordor alone.
Of course you are. And I'm coming with you!
When you lead from below, you nudge people who are in positions of authority to make sure they keep going in the right direction, but without trying to take over. It's all the capacity to change lives, but without any of the prestige or privileges, which takes a remarkably humble and genuinely caring person. This is related to the second lesson from Sam, which is knowing when to lead. Everyone seems to want more leadership. It's one of the biggest nonfiction book categories. I speak all over the country, but even if I'm covering empathy or ethics or communication skills, I often still have to call it leadership training because that's one of the most popular topics that gets booked. But Sam recognizes that there are times to lead and times to not. Something that I think society could use a bit more of. When too many people try to be the boss and show how good they are at taking charge, it becomes a giant mess. Sam is content to just help Frodo and advise him when needed, until Frodo starts really struggling. When things take a turn at Shelob's,
Let him go, you filth.
Sam steps up because it's time for him to take charge and lead.
That's for Frodo!
And for the Shire! And that's for my own Gavin!
Obviously, we should embody the attributes of good leadership all the time, but when it comes to actually being in charge, you need to know when to lead and when to cede control to someone else. Is that a phrase? Is that a thing you can say? Almost feels like a cool aphorism. Know when to lead and know when to cede. Slap that on a t-shirt. Last and perhaps most importantly, Sam highlights the crucial idea that leadership isn't always large, and that isn't just a short joke about hobbits. The vast majority of the journey Sam and Frodo take, it's just the two of them. Sure, it's 3 if you count Smeagol and 4 if you count Gollum, but he isn't really part of the team for most of it. In fact, Sam's most powerful leadership moments come when he is leading one person. And often, we wouldn't really call that leading. But that's why I make these videos. I can tell ya, there aren't a lot of managers and CEOs watching these. At least not historically. But everyone, and I mean everyone, can be a life-changing leader. Even if the only life you change is your own. Families need leadership. Friend groups need leadership. Everyone who has had a meaningful friendship or relationship can relate to this iconic and powerful scene.
Come on, Mr. Frodo. I can't carry it for you. But I can carry you. Come on!
I know my amazing wife has carried me many times. And other times I've carried her. Because that's love. And really, that's Sam. He is humble, powerful, and completely unselfish love. And that is what makes the world a better place.